We're going to go live, and we are live.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so let's see if everybody can see us. Hi. Hello. Takes me a minute. Well, I mean, if I look like I'm tan or orange or whatever, because I have a yellow screen on the backdrop. So I'm probably going to come off a little bit more. I don't know, but I mean, we are at the way deep in the summer, and we are. Oh, good. First Light can see us. We got a pool, so I mean, and I'm always working in the garden, so I mean, I'm in the sun a
I
lot.
did get a little tan working out in the garden for a couple of weeks, but you can't tell.
It takes decades to work up to this, honey.
Yes.
I would use the words damage, but I don't believe one. I know the value of words and how powerful that they are, and I will not use somebody else's thesaurus or.
Beautiful skin tone.
Yes, very healthy.
Yes.
Lots of vitamin D and all that. Okay, so hello everybody. We don't really have that many right now, but like we always say, we'll put it in the can, and then we will share it everywhere, and people can see it now, and also people's lives are very important, and they are trying to sort out all of the details as we allegedly are on this rock that's going around this star. I'm making a really weird looking Earth. Flying at revolving at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator on a tilt, going 41,000 miles around an hour around our sun, which the sun is going 500,000 miles per hour around a galaxy, and the whole galaxy is going 72. No, I just got corrected on this. This is their math. If I mention this, this is what the vetted, non-censored, if you want to say these numbers anywhere, no social media overlord would cancel your signal, because this is what's vetted and approved for the people, for humankind, that they want us to. Now, let me finish the thought, because I'll get fragmented, and then people get frustrated. I wrote a book, and it doesn't match necessarily the flat Earth scenario. So while I'm trying not to undo the value of the book, I must tell you that as God, as a creator of full potentials, in my most expanded, most recent version of where I find myself, I can't say, I can't, because I got new information, then try to cover it up and be a part of the whole propagandized machine to keep people dumbed down just for another sale of another book. So if for certain aspects that were not available, or I wasn't ready to hear them, or my brain wasn't at the full capacity or as much capacity opened as it is now, suffice it to say, I'm still considering everything. I haven't insisted on me being right. And because I didn't do that, I'm available for all possible scenarios. And I have my own intuit, and I will bring them into my olfactory senses. And eventually, I will bubble out something using all the facts lined up. But I'm not operating in prejudice or fear. So if I'm not operating, coming at something like, if I were to learn something different about where we're located, what's happening, what they've tried to hide from us, and this, that, and the other thing, I'm not gonna, out of fear, go, nope, nope, nope. I can't hear that. I can't hear that, because I'm attached to that. My ego's attached to that. Then I wouldn't know who I am anymore in this new thing, and it's too scary. So I'm not gonna go. I am not that. I am fearless. So it would seem that I know myself, regardless of where I'm located, of that I'm not afraid to look and consider. So I think it's a good way to to begin. That was all seemed very abstract and non-specific. I think you got it. Um, so I was kind of like talking about how at first, like, yeah, we're on this rock, impossibly that came from a big bang explosion, that everything is going out, still expanding in every direction. And then there's flat earthers that say not so. And David Weiss has an offer on the table that is still standing and waiting to be redeemed. And that is this: if you can prove that we are a sphere in a vacuum, he will give you the value of 1 Bitcoin, which vacillates on a daily basis. Here as of late, I'll take a bump on it quickly. About 2 months ago, not so much. And about 3 months before that, fantastic, $64,000 per coin.
Yeah.
Then it dipped down to 29,000. So if you had proof that we're on an actual ball floating or flying in a vacuum, then 2 months ago would have been a bad time to go to prove it, because you'd have been out $30,000. But now as we're right in the middle, we're right around 47,000. Not so bad. If you can prove that we're on a ball and where we're located, but all of the scientists all around what we call Earth all know that David Weiss has this offer. None of them have redeemed it yet because they can't. So as opposed to trying to prove what seems ridiculous notion of flat Earth, David Weiss first set out to try to prove that we were a globe, a sphere, and he couldn't.
Well, NASA, we
Start out with the big ones.
when the world, okay, so in the early, what is it, 15th century?
Nobody's going to believe us that we're not sitting in the same studio with a split screen. So you go like this. Now, look, I'm going to bring mine over. Oh, we're going to clink right here. You got to go this way. Toast. Cheers. Okay, there we go. Whoa, you knocked me over the head with it. I got burned from your coffee. Your coffee's hot. Okay.
Well, so sorry. in the early, it could have been 11th century, the people that had boats and would sail around had the flat Earth theory, and they said if you go too far, you will fall off, and that was the known facts in history about the Earth, that everybody knew that it was flat, and there was no way to prove it or disprove it.
Right.
And it was only until NASA created their...
Which wasn't formed until 1952. NASA wasn't an agency. They were formed to block the information from the people. And I'll talk about some of the things that they did. And you guys would go, oh my God. Yeah.
NASA was the first one to have actual photos of the Earth. And, Google Earth, the satellite that takes pictures of location all around the world, that's also controlled by satellites that are run by NASA. So, I listened to a video about things that were in the written word, that talked about the Earth, and it didn't talk about a globe.
Right.
And I can't remember the details. I've watched so many of them, but I first watched the flat Earth video probably a year ago. And I dismissed it as, oh, poo-poo. That's just too far. That's just way out there. And now, with all these different people coming forward, and they're pointing to the scripture, they're pointing to documents.
That the Bible's story of this origin story doesn't ever support a sphere at all. The
Right.
Bible actually only supports a flat earth. Now, the firmament being, it is understood that the high pressure and low pressure, first of all, the fact that the Big Bang origin story would have us believe that there is a certain amount of matter and dust that got dispersed evenly and eventually slowed down. And when it did, enough dirt and dust collected together to form hard balls, while other certain things ended up forming round spheres of gas. And there became gaseous planets that were very large and smaller hard rock things that eventually became perfect circles or spheres. And that eventually, just 1 second. Okay. And that eventually we gathered together in solar systems that some of them became a place where sentient beings could evolve, grow, and then thrive in a sweet spot to their heat source. All the while flying around at the equivalent of what is really a beehive. And they say that if you put two bodies with any kind of mass near each other and you set them in a vacuum and you set them to a thing, that eventually they will come into a dance where they get drawn, one gets drawn into the other because it has more mass, and then as it falls into it, it ends up going past it, and it becomes this dance, and they never do collide. But they say immediately when you add in a third element, like our moon, say, with our sun, moon, and earth, that all chaos ensues from that. And we have 88, allegedly 88. Oh, it's not noon. Yeah, Cindy, I know it's not noon. Now it's noon. We, in our sound check and stuff, you just didn't want to be late again, because DT is great. He's so good at the technical stuff. Okay. So I own all of it. But and we have 88 planets and all of their moons and everything around one star, that this beehive then of chaos has never collided, and that when the moon's ever gotten in between Earth and its star sun, that the bigger mass, being the sun, has never just gone ahead and pulled the moon into it. There's all kinds of impossibilities in this chaos thing, that every year you can take a picture of the stars right above your house, and the next year you take that picture, they line up exactly. And yet we're flying hundreds of billions of miles left and down into a vortex vacuum.
And how is
all
that
these other things going away from us in the opposite direction, and yet the picture is exactly the same. So let me get to what David Weiss talks about where we are, why we are, and what they've done. The Earth is actually, I'm going to say it affirmatively, and I'm not saying that it's a fact. I'm just going to say it in the model of flat Earth. The Earth, as flat Earth, it is actually in what's called the Arctic Basin, the Antarctic Basin. Sorry, it's surrounded by an ice wall that's impossibly high. And by the way, the 1941 treaty that makes it illegal, 1959 treaty, sorry, that makes it illegal to, it's illegal for you to carry any fuel past the 60th parallel, going down. What we perceived is down towards the Antarctic. There are military ships waiting to shoot you down, to sink you. And if they can't sink you and they take you aboard their ship, when you get back to your native country, you're arrested there and put in prison for life. And there are strict treaty laws called the Antarctic Treaty. Just go read it. You can't take any fuel past the 60th parallel. Okay. Well, at that point, you couldn't ever get back without having carried more reserve. And the perilous nature of the journey itself leaves you stranded, if not dead. So they've made it all but impossible. Now, people say, no, no, no.
How do they regulate that? I mean, seriously,
And
how do they
all,
regulate
and
that?
all countries signed on to it. So the other thing about, and by the way, why? Why? And they say to save the penguins.
Oh, right.
Uh, well, there is endangered species, they say, in different parts of the world, and yet planes fly over them all the time. So, there's, I mean, we're flying over the oceans. There's whales in the ocean. They say those are the bald eagle, for God's sake, sits up in the trees. Are to take planes and divert all forested areas? I mean, it makes no sense at all. To save the penguins is why we're not allowed to venture too far. Well, so the very first thing you have to ask yourself, knowing the dubious nature of how these guys like to perpetrate a ruse to scare people, dumb them down, and or put them in fear so that they never do venture, why would they want to do that? And this is the answer. Each of us are a life creation, self-contained potential in a meat suit, in an avatar. We are gods representing in avatars. And there's an energy force and a heat and electrical activity that happens inside of us, which if we will subdue our free will and our liberties, and we will take the vaccine and we will put a mask on and we will all line up in the factories and we will go in and we will shut our mouths and we will put our head down and we will no longer be independent. That if, like the Matrix with Keanu Reeves, if we will subdue our own free will and comply and go over to them, they want us to go and to say, yes, I consent. I lay down my electrical activity, my intuition, my spiritual knowing, my receivership, my antenna, my God spark. I lay it all down for thee. I give myself over to you. And 7 billion people, they want us to all lay down and consent, because there's power in the collection of what they're going to do with all of our spark, our divinity. And so they would rather have us on a model of an Earth in chaos, flying through space at any moment that could be bombarded from aliens, if not rocks and asteroids, and these EMPs, electronic pulses coming from our sun that will wipe us out, from all of these extraordinary or extraterrestrial potentials that leave us in chaos and havoc, and we never do know. They also want us to think that up is down and down is up. Check this out. David Weiss did this experiment, and Ron and I, for the very first time, saw it yesterday. And I wanted to grab it and bring it to you. Do I have a piece of paper? I do. Do I have a pen? Yes, I do. Okay. You're not going to believe this. But if I draw two, there must be something under this that's stopping me from making good arrows. If I draw two arrows, let's see if y'all can see that. If I draw two arrows like that, I should have brought a glass of water to prove it to you. If I put a glass of water, a glass in front of this, let's see if I can make it bigger. If I put hold on, let me get rid of that. My graphics display is advanced. My software package is really amazing. Look at it. Look at it. Okay. Believe it or not, these two arrows are both going one way, correct? Mm-hmm. Correct?
Yeah.
If I put an empty glass, clear glass in front of it, they'll both still be going that way. If I put the glass there and I fill it up with water up to that point, halfway point, that arrow points the other way. It automatically points the other way through water.
Interesting.
It is interesting, and try it. Do it at home. What we're saying is that this refracted model, you can't trust your eyes. You can't trust your eyes when you look out at things that you think that you can see. There are tests that are impossible in the globe model that are happening every day that we're not realizing what we're seeing. Um, there's so much to it. Let me get to this. So on the flat Earth model, looking down, it shows that we're like in a dome, which would be the ether, holding back the vacuum of space. That, like, by the way, no amount of atmospheres around our planet could hold back the rest of the vacuum, that space. It would have crushed us a long time ago. And then the Bible talks about the firmament, and the firmament literally is the thing holding back not the vacuum of space, but water. In this model, the firmament is actually a solid ocean above us. And that these rainstorms, these storms that come across our land, are low pressure, where the high pressure isn't holding the dome completely up, and that water is allowed in, and it becomes these storms that travel. It's just really amazing thing. Now check this out. The sun and the moon are within or just on the outside of this dome. And they are the cathode and the anode of a battery that are doing this dance. And the reason why they're in motion is spawned by the electrical current. That the Earth is predominantly negative charge. That's what, there's no gravity. It's magnetism and electric current. So there's electricity and magnetism, not gravity. And that the Earth is negatively charged. So we're kind of glued to it. Like as a human experience, you can't leave Earth for very long and then still be whole, because we're meant to be together to have the cycle complete, the circuit complete. Check this out. You know how they talk about currents in the ocean, right? That's electrical current. The salt water is a conduit for electrical current.
Right.
And our oceans between the moon and the sun within this bubble are doing a dance, completing a circuit. That's how Tesla was able to capture free energy, because he knew about this.
Yeah.
Check out how your head just went like that.
Oh, it didn't, because I've been studying Tesla for several years.
I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah. No.
And again, I'm not trying to sell it. I'm putting it there because it's going to ring bells in you. So we're just going to keep talking about it in different ways. I got a lot of stuff I've been putting in there. So go ahead.
Yeah. It's not. The Nikola Tesla was so brilliant.
That's crazy.
You could go for 2 weeks on his life and the things that he created, the things that he understood, and the patents that have been released recently. They're people are starting to do Tesla products, and they're claiming phenomenal things like healing properties, not the med beds that we've been hearing about, but there's one company that has like blankets and masks and beds, what do you call it, toppers, bed toppers, with this certain conductive I don't know if it's electricity, but conductive properties that allow your body to naturally heal and heal anything. And that I can't remember.
It's like frequencies.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Frequencies.
Yeah, because we're all frequency. We're all at different levels of frequency depending on how well that we're deliberately choosing affirmative thoughts, or allowing ourselves to be subdued and constantly on this emotional roller coaster that the press, the media, and the power elite would love us to continually all day long be chasing our ass, be chasing our tail. Well, it's true. And to constantly be off center and not at the fulcrum of the pivot point of power, which is always just staying in the now and relishing. Because people are like, oh, well, that's weakness. Oh, well, that's Pollyannish. Nobody's going to take you seriously. In the peer-reviewed intelligentsia journals, we don't do that. We don't honor being positive and gleeful and happy. That's bullshit. And we're not going to, that's for weaklings. You can never come to our cocktail parties. It's like, it's a swindled narrative. it's a swindle narrative. The power really is in staying absolutely in a blissful place all the time, because you become a resonant receiving antenna that shoots up very high. Forget 5G, go way beyond that. This tower, my tower, at any given day is I would assume it's getting higher and higher and higher, because I keep checking it and making sure to nurture this thing. And indeed, inspired ideas from without are being able to reach me because of my receptivity, not resisting and not insisting on anything. I'm not insisting that you believe me. By the way, I don't need you to. I would rather you not do anything than feel pressured or remanded to come with me to my cult or my camp and drink my Kool-Aid. I don't even need it. I'm not noticing anything missing. I'm quite well. I'm quite abundant on every level. And because of that, I'm a great student, if you will. I'm still under construction. We're all here for experience, doing a dance, picking up the pieces that we deem inevitable or that we're willing to take responsibility for, on a sliding scale from being easy about it to completely ecstatic about it. And you can't make just because you hear the information doesn't mean that you can go. You can't make a leap too big. You got to take baby steps. This from your journey, because you're pretty lucid now about that which you altered your inclusion. Like, you've expanded. You've gotten much, much more broad. You're a body broad. That was like a turn of the century. Dames and broads. No, not the derogatory kind, but being broad-minded. People, and they've given it a bad name. They swindled the dictionary against humankind, and this PC police and this, that, and the other thing. Ron and I were talking about this the other day. Check this out. Michael Jackson's Bad album. Remember it? Bad became known for amazingly good or hot. Yeah. Hot used to be bad. Bad is now good, and hot means really favorable as opposed to too hot. And then, I crushed it. That destroy. Oh, you destroyed it. Oh, you're the bomb. There's so many of them now. Oh, that's sick. Sick is now for the best. And sick actually was extorted and used to mean one thing. They've taken everything and turned it upside down. And words are power. And they did it on purpose to get the population to start using euphemisms and colloquial, hard to say without spitting all over the screen, whereby that the word itself, which has a resonation, the universe doesn't know, like, the difference between them, because the universe that creates everything with you through the ether, you cast your intention upon the water, like in the Bible, spoke to the water, put the intention on the water. You're 75% of it. So, and you're electrical magnetic, and you're actually a battery. Yeah. And your ability to suspend all doubt and fear is the best receivership that battery gets frizzled or sizzled up in a frequency that begins to entertain thoughts from without that you never would have access to if you're rooming around in the mud and gossip and fear mongering and hating and trying to get everybody to believe your cause, and backbiting and lying and cheating and trying to extort your way in, and tackling the competition and ruthlessly getting them out of the way. And it's a limited world, a limited supply, and I got to get mine, and I'll kill you and do anything I can to get it. That's a vibration. And in that vibration, no matter how much outside material things that you gain, you'll never get there, because the feeling of love and easy doesn't ride side saddle with it, an extorted, captured manifestation. But you can get manifestation with doing nothing that you'll love. And when you arrive there, like Oprah said, be careful where you are when you get $1 billion, because it's not going to alter anything and change it for the better. It's just going to magnify what you got going on already.
Right.
I was a lot. I went around everything, but
well,
I often do.
Looking back at my life over the last year. A year ago, I would come home from work, turn on the TV, watch whatever, and fall asleep, and then get up and go to bed, and then get up and go to work. And I was on this vicious little merry-go-round.
It's common.
Yeah,
It's common.
a lot of people.
That's why they made flat screens so light, so big, and so light. By the way, on this flat Earth model, or just over the Antarctic ice shelf, there are more than 321 continents that humankind here on the globe sphere that have decided that they don't accept anything else, have never been available to entertain. Back in the turn of the century, there was a book written in a journal, in the Florida Journal. There was somebody that came over. I believe that they've been crossing over for quite a while. By the way, extraterrestrials just means people from the extra land on the outside, because terra means firma. I mean, terra means firma. Terra firma means land. Extra means extra. Outer space means the space that's out there. Outer space. It's not up and away. It's some other galaxy necessarily. Now, I'm putting this in the confines of flat Earth so that when the questions start coming up and people start going, but what about, then who am I? Just clear your mind and just hear it. Just hear it. DT is not saying, now I've changed my mind and you must go with me now over here. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm available. I've been available for a while. I think it sounds absolutely kooky when I very first heard it. And you know that I'm not going to. You have to ask yourself, okay, let me go back to the Florida thing. So they described that they had cell phones and flat screen TVs in 1890s.
Yes, they have technology.
On this, it was called the Iron Land. It was this continent, and these people actually came over the ice and came in. And this is before that ships over here were, I guess, sailing very quickly. And they just came in on a flying craft, probably because they have advanced technologies and everything from without. Now, people are like, well, why would they do that? What do they hope to accomplish? And I told you about that battery that each of us are. If they can keep us in a thing thinking that we're isolated and flying through a chaotic universe at the speed of light, well, not the speed of light, but for people that don't understand what I'm talking about, might as well be, because if something came through your room right now at 186,000 miles per hour, you wouldn't even see it. You wouldn't see the
rustle of papers.
You might see the aftermath of the effect it had on the vicinity, but you would never see it itself. And yet that's the speed of sound. That's not even the speed of light. The speed of light's 186,000 miles per second. Well, the way that they have us as a globe rotating around on an axis going 1,000 miles per hour, and lakes are completely still. There's no ripple. And then it goes, okay, well, that's fine because it's gravity. And then we're going around a star at 41,000 miles per hour to the left. And then that star is going 500,000 miles per hour around a galaxy. And the galaxy is going 72,000 miles. No, I keep changing it. 125,000 miles straight down and to the left through the vacuum.
Now, if you think about all that, and how in the world can you...
how could a comet ever find us? How could a comet ever find us if we were doing all of that?
And so do we really just like landing on the moon and all the other things that have happened in space, we've been told so many times, and you know how they do the documentaries and they present information and they keep perpetrating. they keep replaying the story over and over and over again. So you accept it, and it was taught in school. So it was taught from the time that you were in kindergarten all the way through until you were done with school. And then when you're done with school, you sit and watch the news and listen to their stories. And I have family members, and I've spent a few weeks with them in the summer, that watch the news and only the mainstream. And it just blew my mind how they accepted anything they said. And it didn't matter how much it didn't make sense.
Right.
They just accepted it because that's the way they've been trained.
Right.
And these are people that are in their 70s. This is really, to me, who has learned the truth, can sit back and go, oh my gosh. And I couldn't say it out loud. How can you believe that? That's just absolutely ridiculous. And I would walk out of the room.
Yeah. Now, if you go to using accepted browsers like Google and Chrome, and if you put in Flat Earth, it's going to take you to the Flat Earth Society. And the Flat Earth Society is a government-run shill op meant to swindle the whole narrative and eventually debunk it and lead you down this path, as if to put one of their illustrations is showing our sun, and then the planets like we're used to seeing them, and the third planet from the sun, or us, is actually a disk that's flat, and then the rest are spheres. And that's not what we're talking about either. And the rest of the planets aren't flat, and it is alleged or thought that you can't go up any higher than I think about 100 and right around 125,000 feet before you hit an actual firmament or dome. They sent a rocket up in the New Mexico desert, and it had a camera attached to it, and it was an amateur, thing, but it was based on this. And they went up, and it hit something and rendered it useless except for the camera, and then it fell back down. But it definitely hit like a different energy, whether that be an actual physical like plexiglass or whatever that it hit. Now all this sounds like gobbledygook, and I totally get that. But and there's a lot of other things going on. But is there? Because if there's been a treaty for a long time that says, and by the way, you're not even allowed to question. And wait, all countries signed on back when, and they've never left it. Which all treaties besides the Antarctica Treaty have always been picked up and then left by countries willy-nilly, yearly. No treaty's ever been signed on by all countries and then kept, and then nobody's ever wanted to exit it. Okay. And they say you can't even question it until 2041. So if you that's all true, by the way.
If you can't carry fuel, and we now have solar power, why can't you fly an airplane that's powered solar? You're not carrying fuel. You can go anywhere you want. That wouldn't be breaking any treaties because you're not carrying fuel.
Allegedly, they'll shoot you down. The whole thing is that they're making it a criminal act through the Antarctic Treaty that you can't get in any other way. Now, there was a James Cook or whatever back a long time ago that took to a voyage.
Yes.
And he traversed what he called the Antarctic, actually sailing around it. That was his intention. And he got to the ice shelf, and he began his journey. 3.5 years later, he never lost sight of the shoreline. It was always on his left. Now hear these words and hear them well. He never, his journals chronicled, say that he never, and he purposely, intentionally never let the shoreline out of his left, whatever that is, starboard or port, left, going clockwise. So he thought, or going to the right. Say if you left Chile, Santiago, Chile, okay, which is at the tip of South America, okay. say you left there and you headed straight towards the ice shelf, which is the Antarctic wall, which is 250 feet high. Okay. But when you get on that ice shelf, then mountains go up like 29, 35,000 feet, way higher than Everest. They've seen mountain ranges into it.
Yeah.
That they've never known before, but those people, that's as far as that they could see, and then they were quickly turned back. So, anyways, this Cook, he went, if you will, took a right and started to go counterclockwise to the right around what he thought would be the continent, as he was told, of Antarctica, which would be, it's 13,000 miles around, according to the approved story of the globe. The Antarctic continent is 13,000 miles around, or if two ships left at the same thing and didn't lose sight of the coastline, it'd be roughly a 7,000 mile trip for each of them. And they'd meet and they'd go, aha, we proved it. It is a globe.
Yeah.
Cook sailed for 3.5 years and clocked 60,000 miles, and he was still going.
Yeah.
Because the actual whole Antarctic basin, that all of the continents are in the Antarctic Ocean, not other named oceans, just one, like a crater of a volcano. Like, what's the place in Oregon? Crater Lake.
Crater Lake.
If you look at all of the continents of what is supposed to be on our globe, and you flatten them out like you've seen a flat map that you fold out of Earth, and you put them all as the cone in the middle of Crater Lake,
yeah,
and then you put all the oceans, water, the rest of it, and then you put the shoreline. The shoreline is Antarctic all the way around us, and that we're not flying through space, and up is up and down is down, and that if you traveled in any straight line in a plane or a ship, a straight line, all straight lines lead south, all of them, because on this flat Earth map, everything goes to the ice wall, no matter where you're going in which direction. Now, if you're 10 miles south of Chile, and you travel a straight line, what you think heading north, you will be heading compass north all the way if you get to the North Pole. But then as you keep on that straight line, now you're headed south. And as you head south, you hit the ice wall again. So it's just ice wall around us. And that's where they stay with the flat Earth thing. But the amazing thing about the sun and the moon being a cathode anoid, the finishing connection between the salt water. If you can make a DIY battery using salt water, by the way.
My son's done many of them.
Okay. So the oceans are salt. The oceans are salt on purpose. They're carrying electrical currents.
Right.
And people, us gods in avatar meat suits, we are having an experience in human form, and the main thrust of it is to not forsake your soul, is to not give it away and forfeit it. It's a gift. And if you go and I was talking about even the simplest things is how long have shoes become this? You can almost spend $1,500 for a pair of Jordans. Like that, shoes that are made of all of this insulate material in general, from dress shoes to high heels, ladies up on their toes with the big spike stilettos, keeping them high away from the electrical charge, the negative electrical charge that's conducive to full health as a human, barefoot on grass. That how long has it been that as a society that they're not only keeping us from our feet on the earth to receive the charge, but they're covering everything in pavement, and then they're making it attractive for everybody out of convenience to all flock to the cities so that they can stack them in concrete and metal buildings to keep them even more away from their natural charge.
Yeah. Yeah. And
and the more that the more that you go and the more that you end up doing that, the more problems you have, the more health problems you have, the less financial freedoms that you find, the less inspired ideas come, the more sadness and depression begin to be a thing. And the big cities, there's more crime because people are off their center. And when they get off that center, then they try to figure out how to get back. We're all trying to get back on a daily basis, back to our most feel good place,
When
right?
we were children,
So now we're using drugs and alcohol to try to get there. Yeah.
We were children. We ran around barefoot.
Yeah.
I remember my whole
Oh,
childhood
we did.
not wearing
We
shoes.
did. Yeah.
And yeah, well, we did. But the kids today, and
What's
you know,
wrong
when
with
I
these
think
kids
back,
today?
I raised my son on a 7-acre piece of land right next to the river. And he ran around barefoot constantly. And so he got an unusual raising and on the land. And you know, we live in a condo now surrounded by concrete, and
Right.
you know, to go out and stand in the grass is a privilege. And I don't know, it's one of those things that you don't think about, all the concrete, all the barriers to the land that we've had to accept, or that we've
Yeah.
been taught to accept.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's become like anyway, so so that has bearing. You know, we have 20 acres here and growing and access to more. And while, you know, I mean, I think maybe some of you saw a couple of my toes, like in my early morning coffee picture. When I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, I should remove that. But I mean, the whole thing is that I get into it and then I don't have the right footwear on, like a flip flop or something, and then I'll be carrying a bunch of brambles and dragging something from one part of the yard to the other out there, and I won't be barefoot, but because we have the big old chestnut, big prickle things that fall out of trees, and you don't want to be barefoot on those. But
Those
in
hurt.
gen- yeah, in general, I'm trying to, you know, we have pear trees and cherry trees and apple trees, and then of course our full garden, and we have chestnut trees, and a lot of things fall, and so you'd be a squishy mess by the time that you came back from all of it. But where it does, the sojourn is fairly, you know, like minefield free for anybody that can make I think I mentioned this in the thing recently. Just make a deliberate, lucid, conscious choice to ground yourself a little bit more to the earth, because it's giving you an electrical charge that's going to remind you more about your full connectivity. And I sound like I'm a hippie from Oregon from back in the day, like back in the 80s, which I am, ironically. But I'm really not like that. I'm really not, because I'm all for glamour and being in fur coats and diamonds and drinking champagne and going out and high sound. So I'm not just like, you know, guru hippie farm guy. I'm talking about the nurturing aspect of how it at this time, especially this perilous time where they've really tried. I think that going back to the other thing besides flat Earth, we're talking about the V, so that this doesn't get taken down. So you know what V means, the thing they're trying to get everybody to do. And we know about the election F, the big F for the election. So hopefully that'll keep us on the air. So you know it's been a systematic thing to try to, and they use the race card, and they use the whole transsexual, and the whole gay versus straight, and the rich and the poor, and the black and the white. And they're constantly trying to, it's their constant campaign, the elite, to try to keep people, if they can get us against each other, at odds with each other, then the more that we can they can keep us checking back in to see what big new problem is today. I'm not going to name names, but even within the small patriot party, there are times when somebody will bring something back in about, well, I went over here and I looked at this and this seems to be a problem, what's your take on it? It's like, again, you keep checking back in because you're addicted to it. of and it once you see this stuff for what it is, that it's a swindled narrative on purpose to keep you checking back in, and it's merely the actual exercise or the activity of checking back in that lowers your vibration and your breathing and feeling really good while you're checking back in just to make sure. Ooh, what if something snuck up while I was sleeping? What if something's happening? I need to know about the boogeyman. What if they there's a new boogeyman? Well, there's never ever been a boogeyman. And when we all finally get to that agreement that we don't have to be afraid of anything, and that all we need to do is love on each other and be as one and see one in everything. WW, where we go one, we go all. 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 Where we go one. If you keep saying it, starts sounding like a different language. They want to keep us from that. They want to keep you hating me and judging me. They would like you to. They would like you to compare. They would like strength. They would love for you to compare yourself to me or anybody else, and then find yourself to be lesser and disparage yourself in relation to that, so that you never do finally let yourself go.
Yeah.
And be shiny. And we're not available for that today. I love you all. You are me. I am you. I have gotten out of my own way. Okay. I'm activated. I'm tuned in, turned on, tapped in, tuned in, and turned on. I'm a high resonation chamber, man. Everything's coming to me easily and effortlessly all day long. I'm not bragging. I'm telling you what's possible. Yeah.
We're all part of a source, and God is source, and we all have God inside of us. We are God. And that is source. And if we're all part of source, we're all part of each other.
Right.
And when you look at somebody else and you judge them, you're judging yourself, because that's part of you. We're all together. We're all one. And they want to divide that. They want us to think that we are separate entities. They want us to, all the different religions of the world, to divide everybody, and everybody believes something different. But there's one factor that is the center of every religion, and that is a God source. And that's what connects us all. And all these different, this is the only religion, this is the only way, this is the, that has been created to divide us.
Right. Right. And so people were like, well, what does it matter if it's round or if it's flat? What does it really matter? Because in a lifetime, you can't get everywhere, and you can never be anywhere but one location at a time. And how many years is the average lifespan? It's grown. It used to be people had lived about 45.
Yeah.
If you were 50, you were like turn of the century. If you got to 50, no, really. I mean, it was because of consumption, dysentery, because of the water supplies, because of lack of checking on things that were microbial. Well, I just said all that, but really what it was the quagmire of a density of ignorance in thought, and then people didn't remember who they were. So they were just using any old thing to end it. And life was harder. The food supply chains, the labor that it took to bring it to bear took a lot more time, and it was wearing on the physical apparatus and so on and so forth. And you could name a million things. And in some places of our plane, if it's flat or round, right now we'll call it Earth, okay, because it's the words in there for both models. You can still find the variance of a complete opulence where one individual like Elton John may have 19 houses around the world, and then you got one guy that's going at the crack of dawn naked with a thong on that has calluses the size of mushrooms hanging from his toes from lack of personal hygiene or education, and is going to the local stream to carry buckets of water on his head for the entire village. and he'll never see a second house. He barely has the place where he lays his head at night and hopes to be out of the elements should the a thundercloud break open. So you have such a wide variety in general. But and all this sounds like, oh my God, that's so much. Well, let's go back to this flat Earth thing, if you don't mind. Just or let's go to what the MSM, and if y'all don't know what that stands for, that's mainstream media. Those are the big elite approved telegraphed megaphones that have their pre-canned message that you saw. There would be, I'm trying to get my finger up here. There'd be, man, that finger looks big. Okay. So like if I'm there and you go dot 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 dot, wait, if you go, wow, this like trying to follow the flat Earth. If you go dot 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 dot, and you put individual faces on there, like you're watching the taping of America's Got Talent during COVID year, where they had the audience with big virtual screens of picture in picture of all these faces, and they're supposed to be at their homes applauding for the contestants. That is where was I going with that? Even
mainstream media.
I throw myself off. Yeah. So we saw, those of us that have been paying attention. My glasses are crooked there. Those of us that have been paying attention, have seen where proof that the world elite that control all communication, the CCP, the state-run television, news, propaganda, news media machine is earth-wide. And you're only allowed, the green light only goes on in the studio if you have the approved script and you've agreed and signed in to say what's on the paper. And we have 60 people that'll never meet each other on the same day, all reading the exact same words in the exact same order.
Right.
From all these countries, all at the same time, and all the cities within the United States alone on any given day. The MSM.
They jinx each other.
They give the talking point, and they're creating the news. They're not reporting on news that happened.
Right.
They're creating the narrative to try to swindle your vibration, so you're constantly in fear about this boogeyman that they say is real, which never existed, like the C word. I don't mean
delivering their
I don't mean the old 4-letter C word.
It's not a narrative. They're delivering their agenda to you.
Yeah. And it's on you if you're going. If you're available to go. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm saying you're in a limited matrix being controlled unconsciously until you actually awaken. You're not going to see the value of not allowing your thought process to be swindled during the course of you're awake for about 12 hours every day. During that 12 hours, from the moment that you open your eyes till you go to bed, the goal is to keep your vibration. See which way I'm going to go here. I'm going to go up that way. See, I have to go opposite for the camera. Okay. So you're going to be here when you wake up, looking around the room going, you know what? A lot's going on good here. I mean, it's still dry in this room, and I heard the rain outside. It's still good, and the air feels good. I mean, I didn't sweat. I'm not stuck to my sheets. My face felt great on the pillow. Just quickly, like doing an overview of the day, I can see I got lots of open opportunities. I could write the day myself. I'm not obligated to go to work or to do this or do that, and that's going to be good. And I'm excited about that. Look, you're already going up. Oh my gosh, I hear somebody making coffee. Oh my gosh, I can start to smell it. It's really good. Wow, I can feel that workout yesterday. I have pain, but it's a good pain because I know that I intentionally did something that's momentous and traction. I'm going to look better naked in about a week when I don't see that fat, that love handle on my waist. Bam, you're still going up. Now, a lot of people will be here when they wake up. Okay, this is all important. I think this is a good way to put it. I'm glad it's on tape. So you're here. You see my little finger above my DT.
Yeah.
Okay. So they get up and they're like, oh, God. Okay, so I'm going to go to the bathroom. We all have to go to the bathroom when we first wake up. Right. So already there's subconscious chatter of the everything that you didn't do, or the doubt, or the regret, or the or the secrets that you got to make sure today that don't get out because you've told a couple lies and they're big old whoppers. You got to maintain them. You're not even going to stay steady. You're already down here before you even make it out to the coffee cup. And as soon as you turn on the MSM, you're going to hear news of the bad that you were pretty certain you were like, I told you so. I knew it. 10,000 more people dead. I knew it. It's coming. And all these people that think I'm insane for talking about this thing, look at, you can't even find your signal anymore. You can't find your signal. And by the way, you're not going to be a happy recipient. All this stuff all day long is trying to get to you. Everything you ordered, like from Amazon, is everything you've put into your vortex, your wishes, your hopes, and your dreams, and your ideal scenarios. You wanted to be rich. You wanted to be good looking. You wanted to be successful. You wanted to be admired. You wanted to be respected. You wanted to see your life be a success, and to be able to count in your own definition what success meant to you. Whatever that is, you wanted that from the overview arc of your life. And here you are waking up at the beginning of your next pivot point of power in this moment on this particular day. Instead of knowing the value of fueling affirmative thoughts and being thankful for stuff that's already joined you, which makes your vibration escalate, by the way, which is all the cells that you're made of, because you're ignorant. And I don't mean that as a put down. That's a condition. That's when you don't have all the information. Ignorance is just a condition. It can be remedied. Get educated, and then you're not ignorant anymore, right? I'm ignorant about certain things, like finding the damn audio button for when we're doing a podcast. And I admit it, and I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. It doesn't define me or my potentials. Okay. So then you're here because you don't know the value of quickly getting a hold of that mind and not letting it just think all kinds of thoughts, whatever it wants to. Don't do that. And the best way to do that is not to go, oh my God, DT, that's just so much crap. I'm never going to remember it all. Okay, fine. Then just get in touch with trying to find the most thrilling, fun thing to think about as soon as you can when you get up and you start going up. And by the way,
my surroundings.
Just one more thing. Just one more thing. And I know I've been diarrhea of the mouth here, and I'm let you go. But universal law, a thought that is held for 17 seconds, at the 18th second, this is universal law, and I know it for sure, and I'm bringing it to all of you. On the 18th second, another thought just like it joins it, and you're off to the races. At the 34-second point, at the 35th second point, a third thought, just like the first two, join those two thoughts. And by the time you get to 68 seconds, which is a cycle of 4 17s, when you get to 68 seconds, manifestation starts to slow down in the ether, both near and far, that smells or feels or sounds or is like that, and it starts making its way towards you. So if you're just creating your thoughts by default and you're not aware of what's crossing your mind, you could get any old thing, and because you don't realize how manifestation works, you're going to blame everybody else but you for how things turned out, because you were creating, you're creating either way. It doesn't really matter. You're still creating all the content. There's just two camps: those that are doing it by default and those that have awakened to the point to know the value of doing it deliberately. And when you get into this delicious lane over here, sky's the limit, baby. Because the more that you think affirmative thoughts, the more thoughts like it join that thought. And pretty soon you're considering things that you in no way ever imagined that you'd be the happy recipient of putting the pieces together. A lot of people think there's got to be something that I've missed. I've been trying to do this for so long, and there's a step I'm not thinking of. If I could just think of the right thing, then I could make $1 billion like that guy made $1 billion. Or if I could just, I seem like I keep missing, and I'm so hot. I'm making such a hot mess over here. I'm trying to get it done. If I could just work it out, I know that then I could provide for my family. I could buy that big house, and that dream would come true if I could. But there's something I'm missing. If I could just. All of that has a vibration while you're even thinking that. And that is a very low vibration, because you're still thinking there's something missing more than rejoicing in what's joined you. And people are like, it doesn't work like that, Dee. It doesn't work like that. It's like, it absolutely works like that.
It looks like you're trying too hard. It's funny when just an example, I play a game with my family called 10,000. It's dice. You know, you work up to 10,000 points.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I love that game. I love that
yeah,
game.
we'd
It's
play it
been a
all the
while.
time.
It's been a
Okay,
minute.
so shake your dice and roll your dice, and I have a family member who will go
There you go.
and throw her dice, and I'm like, you look like you're about to have a stroke. Why don't you just throw your dice?
Or a bowel movement. Yeah.
Something. And that is the example of how people do this. And the more relaxed you are, the more peace and um, good vibrations that you feel when you do things, the easier everything is. And just as an example for myself, when I look at my life from just January, I had started doing intentional creation every day. Um, I I think what I was saying was that I wanted that unlimited abundance and wealth, and that I wanted to be. I said unemployed, and then I said self-employed. I
Yeah.
figured out that was the wrong term, and I did become unemployed, but my employer gave me a huge severance package, which gave me the opportunity to be free and stay with family all summer, helping and taking care of people.
Good.
And it digging in the garden, helping grow flowers, the vegetable garden, weeding the weeds out, my hands in the dirt, crawling around, making the garden nice. I had absolute fun.
Yeah.
Working in the soil and watering flowers, and I got to do what I really love to do. And it's because every day when I wake up and I do my meditations, I go through my 68 seconds or more
Yeah.
of my intentional creation of what I want in my life. And so now I got home Sunday and dealt with the unemployment office and the government, which brought my vibration to like and the next day I got a call from the people that helped me find my last job, and I currently have a job interview on Tuesday, and it's a temporary job, and it's the exact amount of money that I want. It's 2 weeks training in their office, and then I'll work remote from home.
Right.
And so, and that's temporary because my abundance is on its way. It's been created. I'm just waiting for it to arrive. And you just create your own paradise, I guess you could say. And I surround myself by the color purple. And I don't know why I've done that. I've done that since I was like 2 or 3 years old. I love the color purple, and I am so drawn to it. I used to have everything in my closet purple and realized I needed a little more variety. But
I think Prince would agree with you.
yeah, well, every time I look
purple.
at something, if it comes in purple, that's what I buy. And
the color purple, wasn't that the
royalty?
The Oprah was in that, the color purple.
Yeah, the movie, yes.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different. Probably not a good example.
The color purple and the color red and the gold represent royalty. And I never thought of that before, but I know people who've changed their favorite color over the years. They like this color or that color. Since I was 3, I think, or 4, I was drawn to purple. I always wanted purple. And that's what I look at. That's what I focus on. My whole bedroom is purple. All my quilts that I have sitting around my room are purple with, other colors, but it's always been a favorite for years and years. So when I wake up, I'm looking at a purple 9-patch quilt. My sheets are purple, and my curtains are purple, and then I go in my bathroom and I have charcoal and purple. So I'm greeted with joy because purple gives me joy.
There's going to be a lot of people ordering purple gifts for you now, I think.
They already know.
Ding dong.
My aunt calls me her purple girl.
Purple girl. That's hard to say. Purple girl. Purple girl.
Yeah.
All that's true. What was I going to say? I don't really have a favorite color. People would think that my favorite color,
Turquoise.
I mean, I have a navy blue watch on today, and I have my New York Knicks shirt on that has the mantle, Mickey Mantle, number 7, navy blue. I have things in every color. I enjoy that. There's a mood, and there for a while though, I was wearing a lot of turquoise on these podcasts. People are like, "Hey, he really likes turquoise." I'm like, do I? I mean, I'll have Airbnb guests that when I greet them at the front door, they're like, "Whoa, wow." And then, like, after about an hour of being here, we'll be sitting already engaged in this great conversation. They'll forget that we haven't been lifelong friends. And that's about how fast that it goes here, by the way. People are constantly, I get this reaction is what I get the most from the Airbnb guests here. Oh my God. I am so sorry, you guys. You don't have to entertain us. I forgot that we weren't just like already had known each other and we're visiting you in your house and saying hi again after many years of being apart. And I'm like, well, there it is. It's perfect. Anyways, but there will be people that will say, do you always wear this much turquoise? I'll be like, well, I mean, they're sitting on turquoise couches on a turquoise deck with a turquoise, and then I'm in turquoise. And they look over, and it's like all of a sudden all they see is a head, because I'm blending into the couch. And I'm like, no, not really. It's a little spot on. They say in the business, too spot on, like on the nose. If you write music that say you have a certain scene and the characters are going through certain exact actions, and they're and the whole scene is called I'm just gonna make up anything. If it's called like robbery on this train, and this lady gets purse snatched, and this person comes up and then grabs her purse and then jumps off the train and the doors close. If you write a song called "And Then He Snatched Her Purse on the Train," I mean, it's too much. It's too on the nose. So usually a track that does well with that, it's just like anymore. It doesn't have to be any lyric. It's just a tension thing with a bunch of tribal drums, war drums, they call them, and then just facts, action, editing software programs. But anyways, I digress. So colors and moods and all that stuff.
But intentional creating, if you can't wake up.
Thank you for bringing it back full circle. We're gonna ruin the thing. There's no more full circle anymore. It's just flat. No.
Flat. But intentional creation, and you can do intentional segment creation, like you're traveling,
segment
like
producing.
All you're going to work, going to whatever activity, and you create the scenario safe. I'll have a safe journey, no interruptions, things are going well, have a beautiful day. You create it. You don't let it happen to you.
Well, yeah, it's like just you're talking about to make it manageable and effective, and you can't manage something that's too far away in either what you perceive as time or location. And so you could put a cast of big old net out there, but oftentimes you're still going to be dragging unchecked stuff into it. So you'll get to that location at that time, and you'll go, oh, that's just my luck. It always seems to be that way. It's like, 'cause you cast your net way too far out. You couldn't affect any change in the, is that better? Vibration. So it's called segment producing. And so
segment producing, right.
Right. So every new thing that you do, literally all you have to do, and maybe this is better because it seems daunting to take what I say and my learned knowing, and then to quickly just all of a sudden be responsible or actually be effective in remembering, oh my God, what do you say I'm supposed to do at this hour on this time and stand on one foot and chew aluminum foil? And then I'm supposed to stick my finger and then I'm supposed to be, and then did I just do that well? Or maybe I'm not doing it well. By the way, there is no right way to
Wrong.
ever get this done. And I'm speaking slowly on purpose. And you'll never, ever be done. So if you really know that you're never going to be done, then you can just relax, because you didn't come here to get it done, and there's no right way to get it done, and there's no higher counsel than you that's making you, going to judge you on if you did it right or if you did it wrong, and you're going to reward you or penalize you. That's all a myth. That's all to keep you off your center. So get that out of your head. You're supposed to be having a fun time. So an easy, fun time. And in the vibration of what you've ever done, that was been your funnest day, your most fun day, the easiest time you ever had, the natural thing that just all of a sudden fell out of the sky, so to speak. And you went, wow, that was so miraculous. Like, how did that happen? I mean, I love the way that felt. I love meeting those people. Where'd they come? How did this happen? We just stopped at a gas station, and all of a sudden, now we're eating at a table together. And oh my God, you know her? And he's like, yeah. And I've been looking for somebody to help me with. I do that. It's like, you do? Well, that's really cool. What are you doing Thursday? We're both free. See, so you don't have to think about the big macrocosm. Just stay in the microcosm. And just make sure that you're feeling good as wherever that you're located. And I promise you, all the wanted stuff you've ever dreamed of will automatically find you, because you smell like it, because you're not insisting on noticing everything as being hard and still not yet happening, or that you're still not. Most people, I said this last time, most people, when they pray, okay, the problem with the way that they feel over a week or 2 weeks later, that they demanded that God come and intercede on their behalf, this big bad problem that's horrible, or that the people that they love are going through such pain and such misery. And Lord, I lay it at your feet, because only you and through you and not me. I'm lowly and dirty and unwashed. I could never help anybody. No, it's only you. And so the whole time I'm praying, I'm heavy hearted, and I'm helpless, and it's bad, and
And
it's
straining.
and it's so big. You've just wasted valuable creation time. If you pray, this is my recommendation. If you must pray to an omniscient concept of a God, please be in rejoicing spirit while you're doing it. Please use your prayer with your eyes closed in this reverency, with your hands, however that your ritual goes. It thinks that that's the thing that makes your connection to this omniscient God finally, because you're not valuable enough to be actually creating your content of your life. God forbid. So if you must outsource this thing, please, at least while you're doing it, be in a spirit of celebration and thank this outer deity, that if you must outsource it, for everything that's going on great, that you love, that's working out, that the signals are matching up, and synchronicity seems to be lining up, and just, miracles are happening. Be in praise. If you must go there and outsource to another entity you're deeming as higher, please be in praise while you do it, and not one of complaint, not one of making something a big bad boogeyman mess. Because I'm telling you that the God's honest truth is, while you're insisting on creating this big thing, your sheer focus on it is the answer to this prayer that you want this change, this relief, can never find you. Because every time you think about it, you're thinking about it as an impasse. And you're giving it a lot of weight. And because of your focus and your attention on it being an impasse, it has no choice but to keep showing up as this insurmountable impasse. You're self-creating this loop. You got to disconnect from it and go, what is working good?
And another way to say that is you're focusing on the fact that it's missing.
Yes.
And you're focusing on the absence of it. And
Right.
if you're not focusing on the fulfillment of it and the joy of having the fulfillment of that
Yeah.
you want,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay,
when
so
the negative comes up, no, that's not what I want. What I want is this.
yeah.
And I want this with joy.
So let me just go ahead and act like I'm doing a prayer. I'm just do a prayer. I'll use your words, and I mean not yours and your particularly, but the universal your, the ones that still insist that a church and an institution and a book and decrees and vetted forms of morality and behavior are their entry ticket to the golden paradise forever, lest they don't follow all the details, burning flesh forever in torment. Okay, so if you must do this, if you must do it, here's the way that I would pray. And I'll use the outer word, Lord. Lord, thank you so much. I'm so excited for all of the blessings and all of the things that have already joined me. I mean, when I can't even count how many things, miraculous things have lined up for me that I have no way of explaining it. And I just want to thank you for this miraculous opportunity to not only be here on earth, but all of the senses and sights and the way that my body's working, my ability to freely move about, receive ideas, and to share things in fellowship. Fellowship is a religious word with other people, to fellowship with other people. My friends, I have so many, I can't even count them. And I seem to be, when I go to a store, I seem to quickly make a connection with other people, whether it be the checker or the guy I'm asking if they're out of stock. And he's going to go in the back and look for me. And I'm so thankful for him. I mean, my gosh, a complete stranger. We're all just really kind of good natured people, aren't we? Aren't we, Lord? Watch, I'm still in prayer. By the way, how much time have I already been in this prayer? And it's just been one of praise and recognition. So I just want to like wrap the prayer up because you can see that that's the way that it would go. And boy, is that time well spent. I'm going to get a big bang on my return on this, by the way. The rest of this day is going to be nothing but the universe wanting to line things up for me because the universe, like a child that you show care and intention and love to, wants to prove you right. A plant that you continually go to in a consistent manner and water and give the proper nutrients to, it wants to show up and glow and be the biggest, most mature, gorgeous, blossoming plant that it can be. And a child's like that when you lavish them with praise and you go, I know you can do it. And you're affirmative and you're supportive. That child prospers, and that's what the universe, the whole ether, does around you. The more you point out what's going well, the more things that go well because of it. You can't take a pause along the journey and make something a problem where you're going to pause for a second, hold on to the rocks, say you're on this river. We've been down here before. Say you're on this river and you're flowing gently, man. The scenery's great. It's a sunny day. You're sitting back. You got your arms up and you're seeing stuff go by and the farms and everything. And it's beautiful. When all of a sudden a thought occurs to you and you go, oh my God, I forgot about that. I was supposed to be over here at this particular time. Oh my God, I forgot. I can't be. What am I doing on the boat? And you grab onto a tree branch or a rock cropping. And as you do, all the debris that you were going with that wasn't beating you to hell and back, now you're stopped. Now it starts banging you on the back of the head. This is what people do. They choose their own reason not to go. Okay, so that's my expression. Anything that you do to put in your way as an excuse not to go is going to beat you to hell and back until you let go again and then go. Ah, grasshopper. It's an old Kung Fu series. People probably you're not old enough to see it now. It's not a curse to get older. You know, I mean, my God, I'm thankful for the 18-year-old me for whatever I understood or didn't understand. He's still here, and my gosh, I mean, like I'm just standing on his shoulders. I'm so thankful for him. You know, like when we're in non-physical and we look down at this third plane of demonstration, we don't subjugate people and belittle them and pocket them into groups. And we go, oh, they've always been bad. Everybody knows they're bad. I mean, they're ridiculous. Or, oh my God, you know, they think that they're really something. We don't do any of that because we know better. We just see it as contrast. And we swear to God, when we come back into the body again, we're going to sift through what this contrast is, and we're just going to look for delicious things that we want to get involved with. And we're going to leave everything else alone. We're not going to make it our business all damn day. We're going to, because we don't have time. What people, that expression that I like to use is what people think of me is none of my business.
Right.
I don't need to know what you think about me. I am busy. I really am. Now, if you are going to pause in your life in the river and let shit hit you in the back of the head by stopping and making sure that I find out about how you think about me, that's your time that you squandered, not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful, mastering, living a mastered life, you know.
An example of this is that I have been meditating for my son, and he's released something in the last, I think, month that has had a hold of him for many years. And the release, the joy, he doesn't see it as joy, but I do. That he doesn't care what other people think of him anymore. And that was one of the things that was holding him back.
When you remember this metaphor, there is a high tide that comes into a harbor, and there's an old rusted out dinghy of an old alcoholic that's not been seaworthy forever and is not buoyant. Well, it's barely buoyant. I know you got it. And then Beyonce and Jay-Z ring in there, bling a ding ding, you know, twerking on the boat and everything, and drinking their, I'll try to be champagne and everything else. And their $5 million is cheap, $100 million yacht with Jeff Bezos. And they come in, and irrespective of the values of the boats, irrespective of the values, the water doesn't know any better, so it just lifts them both. It doesn't go, ooh, I like this one better. So what that has to play with what you just said about your son is your exercise, deliberate intending now, knowing that you found out the value of consistently maintaining on purpose affirmative thinking and allowing manifestation, which has a lag time, to catch up with you and deliver the goods, has altered by the way, what we think and how we feel about what we're thinking controls every situation and every other person around us. We alter everybody's ability to communicate or to deliver a version of themselves to us once we get in charge and tune in, tap in, and turn on. When we get fully turned on, boom, the big breaker, everybody within the vicinity is altered. And so, like a high tide that comes in irrespective of values, everybody, whether you agree with them or not, everybody gets a lift, because you're a battery coming in, and they're cathode and anodes going, wait, something's sizzling in this vicinity. What is it? It feels good. I don't know where it's coming from, but I like it. Then pretty soon you see this person that'll come into a room and everybody's like drawn to them like a magnet. And that's why, because at the core level, all humankind in the doing of anything, whenever they're doing it, they all do it for the same reason. We all do it for the same reason. We want a feeling of relief, all the way on the scale from relief to exhilaration. There's not anything that we do that we don't want to feel better in the doing of it. And once you realize that that's the only thing that you set to do here, was to do things that feel good, and you admit it. By the way, just doing things that feel good has gotten a bad name. They've made it remanded that it's immoral, or that it's not responsible, that you're supposed to be only. Check this out. The MSM has us chasing our tail, in the sense that they want to guilt people that if they're not doing something in regarding somebody else's feelings, and making sure that they feel safe, and not, and making sure to be inclusive, and we want to make sure that that everybody, you're regarding everybody else and every other idea and every other institution before yourself. Subjugate yourself down. You got to make sure everybody else is way more important, and tread lightly on eggshells. Be careful. Don't want to hurt. Screw that. Screw that.
It's called.
I'm here.
They're
Yeah,
trying to
I'm
make
here.
you think you're selfish.
And none of them mean it, by the way, either. In fact, when the cameras aren't on, they're doing exactly the opposite. They're putting pit one against the other, trying to spin up turmoil. They want to stir the shit. They just want everything to stink and be caught on fire. What the head of CNN, Jeff Zucker, said: if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. Well, nobody's going to tune in for a rainbow and kittens. Well, a lot of YouTube videos, if you have a kitten in it, seems to get a lot more views. I don't know. I keep trying to find a cat around here somewhere. Anyway, but the truth is that, and I was going to touch on this earlier, that all of your movies and your storylines for primetime TV and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Stars and all of your premium streaming networks, none of them become binge watchers unless there's an overcoming adversity arc. Meaning people don't keep on watching the next episode unless there's a problem that's been introduced that they want to see resolved. And there's such a steep arc or trajectory straight down into hell of the extremes that they'll go to have the characters fall into ruin, until people feel like, oh my God, first you have to establish the empathy core for the characters, so that you actually give a shit what the characters are experiencing. And then you've got to set all the characters on fire. And I don't know if you're consciously aware of this, but I write music for these things. So you better be pretty spot on and know what you're looking at. Now, a lot of people that aren't in the business of entertainment or music production or TV, film, they're not really going to, when it's done well, it's completely subliminal. When it's done well, it's seamless. You don't even realize that you're being handled. But indeed, all storylines that get promoted, called a repeatable series, they have to have a story arc. They have to have characters experience adversity, so the audience is concerned to watch them overcome the adversity. And that's called a pain body. And that's why they keep nurturing humanity's pain body, that there's always something that will distract them that's a problem, so they can have them focus most of every day on a problem, as opposed to rejoicing in what's working out.
And, when about
It's all true.
3 or 4 years ago, 3 years ago, probably 4 years ago now, I stopped watching cable and I stopped watching mainstream media, and I only watched like Netflix and Hulu. And then I realized that all these storylines are exactly the same.
They are, but they are addictive. And we do enjoy it.
But they have adversity. They overcome the adversity. And usually the main character goes through so many different changes.
And when they die, they didn't really die because that was the end of the episode, and we find out that the bullet just merely grazed the heart, and all of a sudden they're back again. I got tired of it. We mourn and bury so many characters that, whoa, here they come again. I don't know if you realize back in the day with like Knots Landing and Dallas and Dynasty and stuff like that, that we would
They
go, oh,
resurrect so
oh,
many
good.
characters.
They go like this, and we go, oh, good, yeah, they're finally dead. Only to see their twin come up, their evil twins back, and you're like, oh my god, they're playing a dual character. Damn it. Yeah.
And so I over the summer I was with my older family, and they like John Wayne movies. They like westerns.
You sure are pretty when you're angry there, little missy.
Yeah,
Wah-ha.
uh-huh. And it
Wah-ha.
I got away. I had
John
stopped
Wayne.
watching I had stopped watching movies completely because I couldn't handle watching Hollywood at all.
Who
I'm
killed JFK?
After finding out all this stuff about Hollywood, I couldn't stand watching anything. And so we were watching older movies. And
Your brother lives there.
yeah, well, and then I found out that
he's in it.
the older actors were also involved in all of this as well. And so watching the older movies doesn't have the appeal that it used to, because they were involved in the same stuff. And so I have my embroidery, I have my house to clean. I went through my pantry and totally reorganized my pantry in one day and organized all my food in different categories. And,
right.
and now I have my room to do. So I have plenty to keep me busy. I don't need to be entertained. I have things that I can focus on that aren't going to draw my core and my vibration down.
Okay, let's talk about some things in relation to something else and try to keep the code words out. It's mostly going to be me because you got so many great. Well, you don't talk as fast as me, and I don't give you a chance. So less prone to get us booted from YouTube than me. It's usually me that goes blah, But anyway, so there's this actor named Michael Rappaport, and he's been in many movies, and you guys would recognize his face if I were to bring up his image right now. And many of you watching or will be watching, you can Google. Well, early on with the, you know what that is? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. So that's a V, and we all know what it stands for, right? Something that you get a little thing here. Okay. So early on, he was a smug Hollywood group that was like shaming everybody else that wasn't going to go, and shame on us. All high and mighty, like everybody, like even Dolly Parton was like changing the words to Jolene to that word. And I can't say the word even because I'm afraid that V word, because it rhymes though. Jolene, Jolene. So all these stars, one at a time, we learned, wow, how big that the beast is across entertainment. All these loving, dear people that we thought that we would really love if we could have share a cup of coffee with them, they're all in on it. They're all part of this elite contract. And so when the time comes for them to commandeer their fan base, to influence the world to go and line up for these hidden agendaed programs, they've got to do it, or they threaten them, or I think I can say these things. I'm trying to get more careful. We'll see offspring of celebrities taken out. There's contracts for firstborn, if not them themselves have an accident or something happens. So you got to go, or all of your celebrity and all your money's gone. So with that being said, Michael Rappaport just yesterday has a brand new video. And in it, he is cussing and using profanity at CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox for they need to get their damn story right. Because now that you're saying that all of us that have gotten the V now are the super spreaders, right? So it's turned on him. It's like the thing that he was high and mighty about. Now his favorite places to go for information are calling him a super spreader because of the D variant, like Delta Airlines. The Delta Airlines variant. By the way, if you're drinking a Corona on your Delta flight, aren't you putting yourself in peril? I mean, that's a Corona beer on Delta Airlines. Okay, just want to get that in there. I saw a really funny, I saw a really funny one of these Mexican, I think in Texas, these construction workers that were taking a break. And have you ever seen the caulking guns?
Hmm.
You put a tube of caulking in and you click it up. Well, he put a Corona beer in there, and then he put it to the guy's arm with the caulking gun, and then he was giving him the shot. And I went, "Oh, that's brilliant! I love that. I like a T-shirt with that on, the caulking gun with the bottle of beer." Um, so there's that. I can tell we're getting ready to close, and it's about time. What else would you like to talk about?
Let's see.
We say together to everybody watching and that will be watching, do not get the V, do not wear the M. They are trying to
Take your children out of school if they intend to do that.
This is the most important thing because this is where we are in the middle to late August is schools. Kids are the school season, the fall school season is at hand. So do not here in Fayette County in Lexington, even though the governor, who's a Democrat, has said that all restrictions are lifted and blah 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 blah. The school system says not so fast. They're remanding that all students be double masked. I'm not making it up. You have to have 2 masks
I
on
read
your
that.
child. Okay, so they showed the video of the elementary school, little kids filing into the school, and their story was, we had such a fun time because we had balloons and we played special music at the doors when they came in to receive them for the new school year. And they show, oh, I love this. The guy goes, the expression on their faces was priceless, and how overwhelmed they were in joy about us and how excited we were to have them back. And I'm like, moron, how did you see the expression on their faces behind 2 masks? How? Am I really excited right now or really pissed off? You decide. So it's all an extorted, swindled narrative. They would love for everybody to go, oh yeah, honey, it looks fine. I saw it on the 5 o'clock news. Go ahead. It's just something that we have to do. So don't ever wear a mask. Don't do it. And don't make your babies do it. 8 hours a day. And then the military is assisting in some states to make sure that all the kids get their V in tents, in these tents.
Without parental consent.
Without parental permissions.
Watch the school calendar because they will have it on the calendar. I went and looked at mine and it wasn't on there. Right now, they're just asking for a mask.
Andrea, if I had a child, would I be having them in school right now?
Well, see, that's the discussion because he's 17 and he's been away from his friends for a very long time. And
does he have to wear a mask?
If he goes back in person and see,
does
we
he have to get the V?
No,
okay.
But we have a young man who's coming from Florida who's it's his best friend. And he's in a poor family situation, and he wants to finish his last senior year here where we live. And we've become the guardians, and we are going to help him through his last year. Well, I'm wanting to have both of them remote because of this. Donald. Because you never know if they're going to implement that later and not tell the parents.
Right. Okay, so we just said it without going too much further in it that M and V are bad. So, but you know what? I mean, they have the parents buy the because you got to do what you got to do to survive, and you don't have, you want your child to continue the education, and then they're held back if they don't continue in the system, and they have you, if your financial economics are not so that you can have homeschooling and everybody's schedules off, and you got to have your own job, and just feel your way, it's all that you can do. Let's
Yeah.
check
Well,
back on that.
now that he doesn't give any credit to any what other people think of him, now he feels
Right.
like he can go into public.
Well,
He used
good.
to
And
not want
that's,
to be in
you gotta,
public at all. So
right. And you got to start somewhere. So see that that expanded version of your sizzle has awakened a latent haunt in him, regardless of any medical diagnosis of conditions from birth or anything else that you could just heap on to any human right now. Every human is available for a certain, well, we can all feel it whether we're aware of it or not. And when you're around somebody that you've been around for a long time, and then all of a sudden there's a blatant uptick in the sizzle of their frequency, you're like, huh? What's going on? I mean, I think that this Abraham that channels Esther Hicks and the 25 Collective, that she allows and has for decades now to transmit information to us here in this plane. That all sounded wacky when I said it out loud, but it's all true. Um,
read the books.
yeah, read the books. Well, when like the source becomes irrelevant, because I've gotten so adept at feeling my way, or respecting and honoring and understanding what it is that's happening within my own mechanism. And what I was going to say was, Abraham says, when you begin to try these on for any length of time, it's impossible for those around you, and you'll begin to hear it. What the hell is going on with you? No, seriously, because you've had like it's like miracles happening around you. What is what are you doing? What how is that even possible? That happened for you, and now this is work. Wait, that suddenly came out of nowhere. What? There's like miracles going, and that's what people from the outside end up seeing manifest in your life, and they can't understand, because it's not like they saw you making plans to make major shifts, and then you put the pieces together, as like hard work, and then you talked about it all day long about what you were about to do. In fact, we don't really talk about anything that we're about to do, because about to do's, we don't even have time for that, because that gets in the way of our signal for what we are doing. See, you're not supposed to stack up a bunch of stuff and at the end of the life look at the overview and go, oh, well, that was a life well lived because I accomplished all of these things. And then you compare to other people, oh, they didn't accomplish all those things. So I really am better, and I really did it. None of that shit matters. It doesn't matter if you do anything. In fact, if you came in for a whole life and did nothing, you'd be way out in advance of everybody else, if you want to look at it that way. Especially if you never reminded yourself disparagingly, like, oh my God, I'm not doing enough, or she's doing that and I'm not, and
I'm not good enough.
My house isn't clean and hers is better, or my body and I can't get there, and all this stuff that the box on the wall has for a long time steered people intentionally to disparage themselves and to use their voice and their spirit to subdue them until they didn't feel worthy or good enough anymore. And by the time that they were exhausted by the end of each day, and they would just fall in a heap in their bed, like please just give me sleep. For God's sakes, just stop reminding me about all of it, how bad I am, like how mediocre I am. I'm never going to be like that big shiny star. Okay, fine. I just want to go to bed. And that's what levels of manic depression are, is when people start sleeping a lot, they just want to check out. Like,
yeah.
Like you'll see teenagers do it a lot, especially in today's world. This China flu. I don't know if that's going to trigger an algorithm. It's with the lockdowns and everything else, it's caused a lot of ailments, a lot of deaths, and a lot of conditions that otherwise wouldn't have prevailed this whole last year and a half because
Self-removal.
of the subjugation of humans, and they did that on purpose. But if you're not as astute or up to date speed with who you've become, like we are, their lives ended up manifesting all kinds of unwanted conditions, and they're still there in that. So we do feel for them, and we do in the doing of what we do with the podcast and everything else. We do, while we are bringing information to bear on many different topics. My God, I mean, tell me something that I don't talk about. Just try to name something. I mean, my God, what, from tomatoes to the devil, I mean, it's just take your pick. You're going to like something. I'm going to throw the spaghetti against the wall. But what I never do is I never disparage you or have you think that I've got this well in hand and you don't, because I'm not available for that. And I'm very careful about when I say stuff like that, because I'm just not, you guys, I would never, ever waste. I always like great return on my buck, whether I'm investing in a stock or anything else. I wait. I watch for indicators, and I don't spin out of control and then have nothing to show for it. And so me ever subjugating you for where you currently are in your understanding would be me wasting my time. I'm not available for that because I like great investment all day. But in the sheer patterns in the way that I form words and the way that they form into longer things like sentences that become paragraphs and now books, right? Whole hours full of stuff. In the sheer delivery of my intent, my spirit, my manner, you can feel something unlock in you that says, this guy is really kind of easy. He's letting himself off the hook a lot. I want to be like that. And in the sheer inspiration of not making everything a big, hot, heavy mess, in the sheer watching it actually flesh out in front of you, in the moments that we're actually having, you're benefiting because it's the thing you're not doing that you're normally doing right now. So you're considering something else. And in these moments, not like, when am I going to get it? But hey, this is fun. This is good to talk about. Now, that was kind of abstract, but it does work just like that. You really don't have to make it specific and go, well, am I getting this right? Wait, do I know everything he knows? Shit matters. All it matters is that you just get on with, what would I like to be doing right now that's fun? Just for the next
feels good.
Just for the next hour.
Your spirit, your soul, and your intellect. What drives you? What do you want? What do you want to do? And to have it and do it easy.
Yeah.
Nothing has to be hard. If it's hard, move a different direction. Something else will come along that's much better. You just have to intentionally create your future and let go of the past that has dragged you down like an anvil.
Right. Somebody was saying that I had a troll. There. Thank you, Donald. So they, I'm not really into banning somebody, but I went ahead and did that. Earth 1000 or whatever. Somebody else said I have a troll up here. Did they get rid of their thing up there as well? I'm unfamiliar. Yeah. So once I actually block the thing and then I banned the message, and then it takes away all the messages he ever left in the train. Well, I don't know. I'm new to it. Yeah, it said everyone block Earth 1000. Okay. Now, with that being said, that was the very first time I think that I've ever bothered to highlight something as a boogeyman. And I mean, if you're busy focusing on on focusing at all, with me putting me on your lips and in your mind and then in your action, and you're extorting it and you're going out of your way, which is your energy and your day going by, I'm all for it. Because why wouldn't I be? I mean, I don't even have to send you a check for the unsolicited publicity. That they used to say in entertainment that if you're not getting sued, you just ain't happening. And nothing spreads greater faster than bad news. And so talk about me all day long if you want to. Make up it whatever that you would like to. That's your time you're squandering, not mine. That's going to be fine for me. It's going to work out quite great, because the more sizzle and spin that you try to make of it, the farther the river goes. You just can't stop something that you're focusing on. So you're just going to be lending publicity to me all day long. The more that you make me a big, hot, unwanted mess, so that's fine. I mean, I went ahead and did it. Oh, now they're back with a new one, so we'll hide that, and then we'll go like that. I see. So Earth 1000 can become Earth 9000, and I'm sure he's got probably 10,000 different Earths that he does. Well, it's probably that other guy from that other network. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Anything else you want to say? Because now we're just sizzling in the derogatory.
Well, we have 4 minutes, and then we'll be at 2 hours. So
yeah, we don't want to be under. Okay, so the election audits continue. Jill Biden has an ankle monitor on. Dr. Jill Biden has she's got a boot on. Here's another one. Oh, they've got a lot of Earth. They like Earth because their name is always Earth something. Oh well, doesn't really matter. So she's getting on Marine One with the
boot.
with the clone, and she's got her boot on her left foot, covering the ankle monitor, and she's got a crutch under her right arm, which would be to support her right leg. That's the only healthy one that she allegedly has left. So she can't even use the crutch correctly. She's got it on the wrong side. All of the weight, all of her forbearance of weight is going down on the on the wrong thing. Yeah. So anyways, now we have a thing called system of control. It's so funny. I mean, these people, they have all day long, just to keep on rolling. Anyways, we want to end.
So
What's that?
I said they're paid to do so.
Oh, right. Exactly. Well, it's good to know that we're showing up on radar. I think that, did I already say that, and they can't spell, by the way. They're like, their spelling doesn't make any sense. They're kind of like, oh well. Let them be. They'll spread it to all of their people. Yeah, Donald, I know, Donald. I know. There's a lot of people that do that. The one thing I didn't appreciate watching from the other show that I was actually on, I think I was only on it once. He was the guy that got banned from the other show, and I made an appearance on his show once. The entire time that he would do his show, all we'd see would be his head like this, and he'd be like talking about, "Ooh, you can't say that," and his whole show is derogatory about like all the things that the unwanted people were coming in and typing. Yeah. Well, I've made this public, so if I wanted it to be private, exclusive, invitation only, I would. But you just can't stop the light. So let them spin around. I think it's good for them.
Yeah.
Well, with all that being said, this has been great fun. And I hope that you all are well on your way. Don't worry about ever-changing headlines. Just get in touch with you and the earth and know about what your mind is thinking at any given time. And if it's not thinking something really fun and it's slipped over into something worrying, well, then just wrangle it back. Just kind of like finesse it, baby steps. Don't be hard on yourself. It doesn't really matter. You can't get this wrong. And there's no
That's not what
timetable.
I want, and just change it to what you want.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I guess I was lingering for an hour in this other bullshit from my past way of thinking. That's cool. I mean, these signals not going to stop sending all of a sudden, but eventually the stronger muscle of your intent will take over, and your new normal will be always thinking, or mostly thinking affirmatively, and then eventually all the way on the way to knowing the value of always thinking affirmatively. And then by that time you'll already be well into the black, or the positive column of only having things to praise, because so many great things have obviously joined you, and now you know why. You're like, oh, okay. That took a minute. Well, it only took 45 years to figure that out. Well, actually, if you take 45 years plus 123 lifetimes, so because we don't remember that, we keep coming back, so you got to add them all together.
Right.
But anyways, well, my darling, much love to you. Have a great Saturday. I know you were double booked. We were going to do it tomorrow, but we ended up doing it today. So
yes.
So that's fine. And I was free. It's raining outside. I mean, the banana trees and everything are just like loving it. It's like Jamaica outside on the farm. I mean, it's literally like the katydids did eventually come out of the ground, and they're all up in the big trees all around at night. And when we're watching entertainment after dinner every night, we take that long walk down my newly lit driveway with the big trees that are they're not big yet, but one day they'll be 100 feet tall. Yeah. And we take that great walk under the stars or clouds. But as long as it's not raining, we take that walk all the way out to the mailbox, because we can look on the digital online thing and see if if we got any snail mail, whether it be replacement credit cards or junk mail or whatever that it is. We use it as like a twofer, It's like, well, we're going to get the mail anyway. Well, it's like a 500-foot walk. It's a long straight driveway all the way up to the street. It's beautiful. It's quiet. But right now, it's like, it's like an Alfred Hitchcock movie with the katydids. Oh, we came up with a new show. It's going to be a new show or something. It's going to see if I get this right. I got to rehearse it. Hold on. Okay, so it's Katydid, as in Katie Lang. Katydid, Dolly would, but Reba won't. Come on.
That's great.
Katydid, Dolly would, Reba won't. I don't know how it's gonna go. That was pretty cheesy, funny. Well, we always just say that right across from Dollywood should be the theme park. Reba wouldn't. Dollywood, Reba wouldn't. Which exit are you going to go to? It's all the roller coasters that weren't approved for Dollywood are over there. So if you got adrenaline junkie, it's your adrenaline junkie stop at Reba Wooden. Hey, have you been to the new Reba Wooden Park? Yeah. Anyways, that was his idea. We're pretty cheesy around here.
Yeah.
Always having fun. Okay, guys. Much love. Love you, Andrea. Till next time. Till next time. We'll come back. We'll give it a tentative date that we'll be back before September.
Okay.
So that we can give, because I know things are popping, and I get to a certain point of saturation that when I get certain like this. By the way, go try this experiment. Put 2 arrows on a page, and then put an empty glass.
Clear glass.
A clear glass in front of them, and then fill the glass half with water until it goes over this arrow, and this arrow will turn the other way and be facing that way. And what that is about is that you can't trust your eyes, because there's a vanishing point on horizons, and in the flat Earth, knowing it's all flat. The sun isn't coming. The sun isn't going. The I'm way back here. The sun isn't going down behind the horizon. It's actually going around a flat, and so it looks like it's going down because it's pulling. See if I can get my arm out there better. Because it's pulling back, and that's all I'm doing. I'm pulling my arm back in a straight line. Here, see if I can get it better. I'm pulling my arm back in a straight line, and watch what it does. I'm not moving it like down my arm. I'm just pulling it back. You see how it looks like the sun's going, like we're falling backward on a ball, and the sun's still there out in the sky, but we're just going back into night. On a flat Earth, all that's happening is the sun is just literally, it's not going. It's pulling away. It's not going down. It's pulling away. And in the perspective, it looks like it's. See, I'm not moving. I'm moving my arm straight back. It looks like I'm moving it down and away. So the perspective is like that. And when you start to see things in that way, you can't unsee them. Then you realize Elon Musk and Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos aren't going out into weightlessness at all. It's all CGI to try to keep the narrative alive that happens. And it doesn't happen because you can't go out that far. Anyway, we'll save that for next time. People are like, what? What just happened? Okay. I love you guys. We'll sign off here. Everybody have a great night and a great weekend. Be easy and light on yourselves. We'll talk over and the other places where we are with that Earth 1 through 9,000 interfering. By the way, Earth and any other scammer people that want to keep on, coming in here, that's fine. I mean, as long as you're focused on my life and you're subjugating all your power and your creation, hey, I'll take it. As long as I don't have to send you a check. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.